Calvin, what has happened? It's been a weekend. We've seen a week. It's been a major fallout. What has happened?
Well, if you saw our last episode, Unity decided to try to take some territory that didn't make people happy.
No. And I think that we saw a bunch of game developers, indie specifics, right? Like Cult of the Lamb, a bunch of other people really revolting against this. Which, who would have thought that that would have happened? Cult of the Lamb, they were saying that they were going to pull it completely at January 1st. They were like, fuck this, not a chance in the world. There was a couple of different game creators that were absolutely saying, hey, we're just not going to use your engine anymore. We're going to fully port it to something completely different. That's a little bit crazy by
Especially some gigantic mobile game devs.
Yes.
Which is a big deal.
Yeah, but there was some light. So, Unity has pulled back, big air quotes, right, with their latest tweet. I will keep calling it a tweet. Fuck all of you. Otherwise, I don't care about rebranding your company. The reality is, though, for me personally, is I never saw this going through. Right? Just personally, I never saw this going through. And we're just saying here, we have heard you. We apologize for the confusion. Blah, 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 blah. What the fuck ever. Thank you for your honest and critical feedback. This has been, though, in my opinion, a pervasive problem that has continued to happen in the last, 2 to 3 years within tech. Which has been, we're going to put out some bullshit, right? Some crazy-ass shit. Some stuff that we don't even think people are really going to go for. And then we're going to go and apologize, say we're taking on your feedback, and then come back at it with another bullshit angle once this has kind of, fallen off. So it's hit them with the rage first off, so it burns out the people focusing and paying attention on the, on what's actually happening. And then kind of quietly change a few things, but basically get to about 50% of where you want it to be. So I still expect a pricing change to come down the pipe. I absolutely do. It's gonna feel something similar to this. But this was their first attempt at putting out some real bullshit. Look, the people have spoken. I'm amazed, I'm not amazed that they've listened and pulled back, but at the same time, it is a continuous worry that this is the new thing, right? We're just going to go and cause confusion, cause a great barrier between people. And did you see what Humble Bundle did?
No, remind me. I think I did.
They put out a Godot 4
Yeah.
Humble Bundle, which you can go get right now, which is basically every tutorial that you can possibly get for that engine by the developers, right? And it's right there. Godot was one of the most searched terms was Unity alternates in the last week as well too.
Hey, over the weekend, I tried to make a Godot project, so Hey, so I'm glad Unity's coming back, because that was struggle city for me. But
absolutely, you gotta tell us how that one went. But for real, this is the thing that overall, I'm glad that the game developers who are in bad positions with these things, which would have been very impactful for a certain amount of those developers. Now, I don't know if Unity ever came out and said, were we going to prorate these things, right? In terms of the runtime licenses. So hey, Cult of the Lamb has got a bunch of different installs. They've already made a good amount of their money, right? Let's just say in their first major burst. Not to say that they're not going to make more money over the next 5 years off of that game install and DLC and everything else in the in-between. But at the same time, there was just all of this back and forth, this confusion, this everything else. What is the future here? In your own opinion, right? Where do we go from right here, right now?
It's gonna go.
Yeah, and was it
this
worth?
This is gonna go worse. Oh, go ahead.
And was it worth making that game? Tell me, please lead it into using that engine as well too.
The confusion is gonna get worse and worse. So the first time, or not the first time, companies do this PR spin for a long time now, but one of the biggest ones was Elon Musk and Twitter, and then he just does all these things and he says all this stupid stuff. Now here's the thing: the most in my opinion, I'm surprised people are like, "Oh yeah, Elon's just the dumbest person ever." Blah blah blah. It's like, okay, whether you think he's intelligent or not, a little bit irrelevant, but just you should probably give some benefit to a doubt that something is going on. He's making these crazy changes. He's making wild ass tweets and fighting and wanting to fight Zuckerberg in the ring. And meanwhile, we've seen this in all sorts of media in the past decade, especially. Meanwhile, things are happening in the background. So I will just say this is a sort of intelligence we need to build up, like kind of like in the 90s and 2000s, we built up our immunity to spam. We sort of need to start building up an immunity to like misinformation and these kind of tricks that people play. And when they're very obvious, like, "Hey, I'm gonna fight Zuckerberg in the rings," that type of stuff. Now, the Unity, I wasn't entirely sure if they're gonna walk it back because other things have not been walked back before,
Sure.
like Apple stuff. So I was like, I'm not sure, but we talked about it last time. I suspected that they would walk.
And look, we don't know how far.
Yeah,
There is more to come. But at the same time, this is not something that game developers want. It's not something that game developers need. It does not serve the public. It does not serve what we're going on for here, and why we would even use this engine in the first place. But we are shit out of luck in a lot of ways because because I'm not going back to writing my own engine because I can't. I have no idea how to, and I'm not using game makers. So good luck to you. But I think that's just where we're at with the news. We don't know, and now all of a sudden it feels like even almost more confusion at the same time too, because it's now a blank slate again. So it's like, okay, well, what's gonna happen?
Yeah. With Twitter, I did laugh on the sidelines because I think you and I both don't really engage in Twitter.
No.
And I do know there are some people that are very serious about it and it's part of their business and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was kind of laughing on the sidelines. But then for Unity to hit me, that was tremendously stressful because I did not know how the future was going to be, and that's why I made an attempt to at least poke around at Godot. So yeah, people do get seriously hit by some of these crazy tech whiplashes that they're trying to do.
Do you think that this is coming down from the CEO being an ex EA person who was basically ousted from that company at the same time too, for doing kind of the same type of bullshit as well too with Game Pass, I believe. Talking about increasing the price or changing the access or adding tiers. I can't really remember now off the top of my dome. But what is it going to take to get them back into graces over the next number of years? What will it take for developers to forget?
I do have a theory about the CEO.
Okay.
So
Go on,
the
hit me.
question is, if you're a big company with decently good reputation, Unity was decent till now.
Yeah.
Kind of sliding. Why would you hire somebody with a terrible reputation and then make these drastic changes? I sort of think the CEO, because he has such a large target on his back, he acts as a scapegoat. And that the company wanted to do this for a long time. They needed the money, and they're like, let's just get this big target, and then paint it on his back.
Okay.
And he knows this, He plays into it. He obviously plays the villain, and he absorbs the bad PR that normally would be directed towards Unity. Is my opinion.
Towards the conglomerate.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, look, I only wanted to jump in and try to record like a really quick video, just based off the tweet, based off of everything. We're back to square one. We've no idea what the fuck is going on. And that's the thing. There's more news to come. We're not out of the fire.
I gotta cancel my Godot short order because I was about to switch teams. So I'm gonna cancel that one.
Tell me. All right, go on. Tell me. Like, did you actually get into this a little bit? Like, how?
I did.
All right. How was it?
I'll say this. I'm not. Open source people are usually pretty dogmatic, so I'm gonna say I'm not really. But Godot is pretty streamlined for 2D games. I was really surprised. Like anytime you have to do any angles in Unity, there's usually actually a lot of ugly math. And then I was like, oh man, they have some nice convenience functions.
Okay.
So
cool.
for simple 2D games, it was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, look, I'll give it to him. I need to check it out more because I haven't checked it out for a hot minute, honestly.
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah.
years at this point now, which is not really great, but you know, is what it is. All right. Well, cool beans. We'll see you later. All right. Thank you.
But